Good day, students. Today we shall look into one of the applications of solar energy, that is solar power plants. Here we use the heat energy. We store the heat energy from the sunlight using power plants and make use of it in industry or for energy production. Now, in a solar power plant, the solar heat, sunlight, is collected to increase the temperature of a fluid in a turbine operating in a cycle. We have a work cycle, we shall look into it. So, in that cycle, we will have a fluid that is passing through that cycle. Now, that fluid is heated up using sunlight. Now, the hot fluid may also be used to evaporate another working fluid in the cycle by means of a heat exchanger. That means in effect we'll have two cycles. In one cycle, water will be passing through, and this water will in turn heat up another fluid of lower boiling point. Water will be able to boil another liquid, and that will be circulated in another cycle. This is called a Rankine cycle. Now, solar power plants are categorized into three depending on the temperatures they reach. They are the low temperature solar power plant, medium temperature solar power plant, and high temperature solar power plants. Let us look into the low temperature solar power plant. Okay, here we have a binary cycle, that is two cycle system. It is called a Rankine system. Here we have the sunlight falling into this collector, array of solar collectors. That is, sunlight is converted into heat. So from this we will get either hot water or hot air. Here we have used a liquid collector, so we get water, hot water from this. So the hot water passes through this pipes in this water circuit, and it is passed through a heat exchanger. Here, this unit is called the butane boiler because in this heat exchanger we have two pipes, one containing water and the other containing. Okay. Now the butane vapors, after passing through the turbine, okay, it can be again pumped into this butane pump. So the cool butane again comes back and it falls into the heat exchanger again. Here it is again vaporized by the hot water and again passed through the turbine. Now in this process, we cool it to fall on the cold turbine. That is, the turbine is continuously cooled so that the butane vapors condense into the liquid. To cool the turbine, we pass water through it. That is why we have the pipe from here. So water is passed into the turbine and the water is condensed, and this water can be used for irrigation purposes. Okay. So here an array of flat plate collectors is used to heat water to 70 degrees Celsius. Now this hot water, it then boils the butane in the heat exchanger. The butane vapors then they run the butane turbine which operates the pump. The butane vapors here, it runs the butane turbine which in turn operates the water pump or the hydraulic pump. This pump pumps the water from the well to be used for irrigation purposes. Now the remaining butane is then condensed and it is returned to the heat exchanger. Okay. Now we have the medium temperature solar power plants. Here more sunlight is collected by means of this water. By more sunlight, I mean that temperatures of higher degree Celsius can be attained here. Here focusing collectors are used, that is, these two parabolic or circular troughs, these shapes. these circular or parabolic troughs, they are used to focus. Here, this trough shape can focus light to a particular point, and water pipes are passed through these points. And hence, light is focused. This water can attain temperatures of a few hundreds of degrees Celsius. Okay, so here focusing collectors are used, and circular or rectangular parabolic mirrors, they collect the radiation and focus it to a small area. Now these type of power plants are used for metallurgical research. It can generate steam at 250 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these are the temperatures that can be attained, and it can give turbine efficiencies of about 20 to 25%. So when hot water, not water, water will evaporate. So we get hot steam from all these rows of collectors, they can be passed into this turbine, and by rotating the turbine we can generate electricity, and this electricity is distributed. If we don't want to operate the turbine at that time, we can make use of storage tanks to store this hot water. Okay, and after its usage it will become condensed and it can be again used to heat up this water. Okay. In high temperature solar power plants, we have two categories. The first one is the solar farm. Here we have fields of collectors. Okay, so in this picture we can see this man is standing near a parabolic trough collector. So this parabolic trough collector, it focuses light to this central point. So we are passing a pipe filled with water at this central point. So this hot water is collected from several rows, continuous rows. rows hot water collected. Then it is utilized in this power plant. It can be either used for any industrial purposes where we need hot water, or it can be used for generating electricity. Here, the temperature at the focus can reach several hundred degrees Celsius. And the working fluid here, it transfers the heat from that focal point of that collector to the point of use here. And this is directly, this water, hot water is directly used in industrial purposes or indirectly used for electricity production. So we will have large fields of solar collectors that is distributed. Okay. കുറേ ഏരിയ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് അതിൽ കുറേ റോസ്, കുറേ വരികൾ നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ കളക്ടേഴ്സ് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അതിൽ നിന്നൊക്കെയും നമ്മൾ ഹോട്ട് വാട്ടർ കളക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ സോളാർ ഫാം സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Now the next type of high temperature solar power plant is the solar tower. Okay. Okay. So ഇങ്ങനെ സീരീസ് ഓഫ് മിറേഴ്സ് ആണ് ചുറ്റും വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഈ മിറേഴ്സ് എല്ലാം തന്നെ സൺലൈറ്റിനെ ഈ ഒരു ടവറിന്റെ സെന്ററിൽ ടോപ്പിൽ വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന റിസീവറിൽ അവിടെ കളക്ടർ വെച്ചിട്ട് അവിടെയാണ് ഹീറ്റിനെ കളക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So we have a central receiver on a tower that is surrounded by a field of tracking. ഈ മിറേഴ്സ് ഇങ്ങനെ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ്ലി സണ്ണിന്റെ പൊസിഷൻ മാറുന്നതിനനുസരിച്ച് ഇങ്ങനെ മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെ ട്രാക്കിംഗ് എന്ന് വിളിക്കണം. ഇറ്റ് ട്രാക്സ് ദ സൺ. ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി ഈ മിറേഴ്സ് ടിൽറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. Now the temperature at the focus can reach several thousand degrees Celsius. ഇവിടെ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കണം, 1000 degree Celsius വരെ എന്തായാലും ഇവിടെ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ട്. The working fluid transfers the heat from the focal point to the point of use. So ഈ particular focal point നിന്ന് നമ്മൾ ആ ഹീറ്റ് ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്ത് എവിടെയാണ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്, ഐദർ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയൽ പർപ്പസസ് ആവാം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇലക്ട്രിസിറ്റി ജനറേഷൻ ആവാം, അതിനുവേണ്ടി യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. Okay, so it can be directly used in industrial purposes or indirectly in electricity production. So today we looked into how the solar power plants are made use of. Low temperature solar power plants medium temperature solar power plants ഇന്ന് ഫീൽഡിലുണ്ട്, വർക്കിംഗ് ആണ്. പക്ഷെ ഹൈ ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ സോളാർ പവർ പ്ലാന്റ്സ് ഇപ്പോഴും ലോവർ സ്റ്റേജസ് ഓഫ് ഡിസൈനിലാണ്. അത് വളരെ വിരളമായ സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലാണ് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അതിന്റെ വർക്കിംഗ് സ്റ്റഡി ചെയ്തു വരുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, so that's all for today's portions. Thank you.